Okay, had a couple of requests to show how to inject textures into Steam games. In this case, we're going to be using XCOM Enemy Unknown. And what we got to do first is we need to download Texmod. So we're going to type in Texmod. Oops, sorry about that. Texmod download. We're going to get it from File Planet. I'm going to download that. It's going to be a small zip drive, or I'm sorry, zip file. And mine goes to the desktop. So what we're going to do is unpack it. Just take the exe out. We're going to create a new folder for it. We're going to call it Texmod. I'm going to throw the exe inside. We're going to open it up. We're going to create two more folders. One called out, and the other we're going to call packages. That's where we're going to save our packages. And the out file is where we're going to be extracting our textures. Now to get the game to get Texmod to run with Steam, there's a few things we got to do because Steam just doesn't like sharing priority on who gets to run the exe. Steam likes to run it, but in this case we need Texmod to do it. Your Steam directory most likely will be in C drive. Mine's in the D drive. So what I'm going to do is go to Steam. We're going to go to Steam Apps, Common. Now I'm going to use the XCOM Enemy Unknown demo. The process will be the same. I'm not going to use my original because I have too many sim links and different mods attached to that, and I don't want to redo them. But the process will be the same. So we go into binaries, Win32. Now we're going to find the XCOM game exe. We're going to rename that to XCOM Game 1. And do that right now. Okay, next thing we're going to do is find the folder that we made from Texmod. We're going to copy the Texmod exe. We're going to put that into the game directory. We're going to rename it XCOM Game. We're going to trick Steam into opening up Texmod for us, and then we'll launch the game from there. Okay, what I'm going to do is open up Steam. Okay, once we got Steam open, we go to Library. We're going to double click our game, and what that's going to do is open up Texmod. Exactly what we want. Go to target application. We're going to browse. We are now going to be looking for the exe that we changed the name of. In this case, be C drive, Steam, Steam Apps, Common. We'll go in there. You're going to be going into XCOM Enemy Unknown. I'm going to go into the demo. Binaries. And we're going to select XCOM Game 1. Okay, then we're going to click Logging Mode. Make sure you have these set up the way these are. Checkmark and translucent. The other one's in draw control, show texture, replace texture. We're going to be saving them as BMPs. And then we're going to change our output folder. Make sure your output folder is the same folder that we created the out folder for. Okay. And then we're going to, the log with is the file, or the button that we use to extract the textures while in game. I think it's enter by default, but I recommend F12 for XCOM, because enter makes you go into the base and you got to constantly be backing in and out. So at that point we're going to hit run and we're going to open up the game. Okay, now that we got the game opened up, you should see the new UI, Texmod's UI up there, indicating that it is starting to cycle through textures. Now plus and minus on your numlock will cycle through the textures, and F12 will save it. 2, on options, I recommend going into interface and going into keyboard bindings and tactical shortcuts and untie. I think F12 by default is quick save. I would switch that around. Okay. Now, as you can see, we are going to load up a game. I'm going to pick one where the commander is not going to be bothering me all the time, and I can go into the barracks in peace. So we're going to go into the barracks and view soldiers. As you can see here, we have our flags. I'm going to choose to export the Great Britain flag. So by doing that, I'm going to start going through hitting the plus key. As you can see, textures are starting to go up on the top left hand corner of the screen. Now you can see as some of the textures become highlighted. Now you can see how Great Britain, see how it's going in and out? That's because I'm hitting plus and minus and reselecting that one. It's selected when you can no longer see it. So we're going to hit F12. It is now exported into our output folder. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click in, come in even closer, and you can see under Snake, next to the nickname Jack, the menu flag is also tied to the texture on the screen, so it takes care of that as well. What we're interested in now is going into Customize and getting the flag on his back. Now, the way XCOM is set up, it loads up a lot of textures, so sometimes finding the right one can take a little while. I know it's in the On mine, it's in the low 4,000, so you may want to hit minus to get there. Now I'm going to pause the video and... Okay, now that we've closed in on the textures that we want, you can see the ones that are highlighted are the ones, obviously, that we can export out. And you can see there's his armor right there, you know, and his weapons and different things, the spectral maps that give it the shiny, you know, the shiny effect for armor and whatnot. So you can pull it all out of there and edit it, do whatever you want. In this case, we are going to pull the flag off of his back, and you can see it highlighted right there. You can see that the flags are all tied to one texture, so if you ever wanted to edit multiple flags, it would be worth saving this file and keeping it so you don't have to come in here and get it all the time. We're going to hit F12 to take it. Okay, now that we have it, we have our two textures outported. We're going to jump back to the desktop. Okay, now that we're back out to the desktop, we're going to go back into the folder we created earlier, and we're going to go into Out. And you should see that we have three files created. One called Texmod, which is the hex decimals that are reference files to the actual textures we extracted. Okay, and you can see I always just look at the last three digits there. You see 94D and 821. You can see 94D is tiled to the menu flag, and 821 is reference to the actual back flag. And what we're going to do is we are going to pick a texture where we're going to replace the Great Britain flag or a flag of your choosing. Now, I already have a texture sitting around. I'm going to use the Detroit Red Wing symbol for this particular little thing. We're going to go to Edit. We're just going to use Paint because we ain't got to do too much. I'm going to select the little box thing where we can highlight, and we're going to right-click, and we're going to go to Resize. We're not going to resize this. Don't ever resize this particular file because the game won't load. It's got to be the same pixels and the same size for everything. What we're going to do is go to Pixels, and we're going to see the size that we're going to need to create. See, you can see 256 by 127. Okay. Now with that, 256 by 127, we're going to open up the Red Wing logo or whatever you chose. Now we're going to resize this. We're going to undo maintain aspect ratio. That way we can individually set the pixels. Now I believe I said 256 by 127. I could be dead wrong. It looks right. Okay, now we're going to use the little box highlighty thingy again. We're going to copy. We're going to take that. We're going to paste it over here, and we're just going to slide that over. Okay, now we can save this file. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing to make sure you get the right size for the menu file. I'm just going to pause it. I'm going to do it, and we're going to pick back up. Okay, now that we got both the logos created, this is where we need to build the package. Now what we're going to do is we're going to double-click Texmod. Okay. Now the first one we're going to do is the 821. The ends with 821. That's going to be the back flag. We're going to click, or we're going to make Control-C. We're going to copy this line. Okay. Now we're going to hit Control-N, open up a new document. We're going to hit Control-V to copy it, or I'm sorry, to paste it. And then we're going to go to Save As. Now, we are going to name this back flag, or whatever you want, and we're going to save as all files, and we're going to type in .log. If you don't do that, it is not going to work, so you save that. Now you can see we have that created here. We do the same thing for the next texture, which in this case will be the top one. We go to Control-C, Control-N, Control-V, Save As. This one will be called, first we'll click all files, and this one will be called menu flag. Okay, and .log. Okay, now that we have those set up, we can make the package. Now we're going to double click, or bring back up Texmod. We're going to go to Package Build. Now we're going to choose the directory in which we've saved those new log files in. Hang up there on my computer or something. But anyway, we go to Browse. And then we're going to go right to where we saved them to, which would be, in this case, mine is the desktop, and then Output, and we're going to click Back Flag. Okay, and then we're going to go to Creator Name, whatever you want to put, Comment, whatever you want to put, Build. Okay, and this is building our TPF, which is our Texmod package file. And we are going to name that Back Flag. And we're going to stick that in the package folder. Save. Okay, now we're going to do this one more time. Browse. And we are going to go with the menu flag. We're going to open that up. We'll leave that the same. Just click Build. And we are going to call this menu flag. We're going to save it in the package folder. Okay, now it's done. Now we go to Package Mode. and make sure your target application, make sure Texmod is still running your XCOM exe. And we're going to click the little folder option. Go to Browse. We're going to click into Packages. Then we're going to load up backflag and menu flag. And that's it. We should be ready to rock. We hit Run. Alright, now that we're back inside the game, we're going to go to Load. We're going to bring up the same save we did before. We're going to go over to Barracks, go to View Soldiers. You can see that the Detroit Red Wing logo is now over where the flag, the British flag used to be. And we can go in to Customize. You can see how the flag is right there. Looks pretty good. You can see it in game. And, you can change anything you want texture-wise. 3D modeling is still up in the air for this game, but, if you guys like this video, we can maybe make another one or two where we get real in-depth and make something a little more complicated. And, if you have any questions or anything like that, leave a comment. Oh, and one more thing. We're not actually editing the texture files inside the game directory. We're not overwriting those. So, if you make a mistake, it's not that big a deal. You don't need to keep pulling the originals in and out and overwriting. What we're doing is just injecting textures. So anytime you want to see your modifications in game, you must load the game up the same way we've been doing it with Texmod. So you need to make Texmod launch the game. Another thing, if you've noticed maybe your virus protection going off anytime you are starting the game with Texmod, that's because Texmod is manipulating the textures inside the game directory, and it looks like suspicious activity for your antivirus. But in this case, it's not, obviously, because we're the one doing the manipulating, so it's all good. But anyway, all right.